That's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. When it's Android over iPhone and you can keep your stupid amiibo and always bashing on Nintendo. Well, that's Retro Fandango. That's Retro Fandango. Thanks, Retro Fandango. Wow! Look at us. Here. Ready to go. On time, despite what the chat says. Chat doesn't always know best, you know.
What's going on with the chat?
I don't know. We've got a lot of people here. Curtis says he's got COVID. Or he didn't catch COVID, but he has to quarantine himself just for nothing. I don't think it's just for nothing. If people are telling you to quarantine yourself, something's up. That's what I say. And look at this. We got Sauce here. Can't wait for that new episode. Joe. Oh, he's kissing up to Joe because Joe is here.
What is Joe doing in the chat?
You know.
Hey there, Joe. Not that I mind.
I have so much stuff I want to talk to you about. I got all these movies here. I got movies that I forgot to mention the last time. And I even played a video game that I think you'd be interested in. But of course, I made the mistake of listening to the latest STC pod before we did this.
Are we going into a rebuttal?
I don't know. What is it with that show? They're always constantly on me. I don't get it. I don't understand what's going on.
Well, they know they'll get a reaction out of you.
I guess so. Maybe that's it. Well, it actually, I wasn't planning on listening to the show, but people kept messaging me things and wanting my reaction to what happened on the show. So let's just get into what happened on the show, and then you can have my reaction. So first of all, I start the show, and everything's normal, and then all of a sudden, Joe just he breaks into this news thing and starts going through, like, I don't know what he was looking at, my Instagram page or something, and just starts reporting everything that I'm doing. It was quite weird. I do have the audio here for you. Hopefully it works. The chat should let me know if it works. Let's play down some of the audio. I know Richard could hear it earlier. Let's see.
Are you playing something?
Can you hear nothing? No?
Nothing.
Okay, let's see. I'll add it to the stream.
Audio is copyrighted.
I'll add it to the stream. And then, maybe that's what it was. I have to add it to the stream. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear it.
We should probably jump into our breaking news segment. Am I supposed to make a noise? Wow. This is Update Kevin. He's organized 10 bookcases into his wall of CD music recently. If you guys are curious on how he's setting up his new abode that he's moved into. He spent some more money on music he doesn't need, like Motorhead albums, Lee Aaron, and some 45s of Cooper and Dire Straits as ZZ Top. What else, Bill? Oh, he's in a snow shoveling war with his new neighbor. Apparently, they do things differently up in Chelmsford. Is that how it's pronounced?
It's Chelmsford.
Chelmsford.
Thank you.
Okay. It's the great north of Canada. He has a Star Wars collection shelf, and he's bought 5 classic monster DVDs recently. So there you go. There's your bi-weekly update on what Kevin's been up to.
And why do you take notes of all this? Why the fascination?
So Joe's answer to that question was because Bill told him to, but we all know that that's not the truth. And people were asking me, like, what is Joe's obsession with you? And it was funny because a few people did messaged me, and they had some theories. They had some ideas. Let me read to you the I think the best three. One
Okay.
person. Now I'm not going to give you any names because I respect their identities. Man Crush happens to be one of them. That's actually the first one here. Hey Kev, just listen to the latest episode of STC. I noticed how Joe talks about you in every episode. What's up with that? Which is probably referring to one of our. Should I do it now?
What's up with that? Oh, do you
What's
have
up
it?
with that?
What's up with that?
Oh yeah, get you. Here we got. Yeah, the soundboard's back. Okay. So he says, I think Joe might be in love with you. Now, I don't think that's the case. Personally, I think Joe just is kind of is obsessed for some other reason, but I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't think it's because he loves me. Another person says, yo, Marsman. Some people call me Marsman. Yo, Marsman, what is with Joe's obsession with you? He talks about you all the time. Is he jealous? Which could be. I mean, that's a pretty good theory, considering, he does that whole weekly pickup video thing on his channel. Every week he's got to go out there, go to all the thrift stores, pick up stuff that he doesn't even know what it is, but he thinks it'll make him look cool if he picks it up and talks about it on his channel. There's not much interaction over there. But I just post a photo on Instagram and I get all this attention. By the way, that wasn't even the most. The most I got was on Facebook. People were just constantly wanting to know more about my music collection on there. But I should mention that the music collection that I posted, that's both Sarah and I's collection. That's our collection together. Not all those CDs that are mine. At least half are hers. And we were just happy that we finally found a home for all the CDs. Since we moved into this house, we had this change where everything goes and the CDs were in limbo. They were in boxes for like 3 months, and you can't go buy CD shelves anymore. They don't sell them. Nobody sells any real media shelving here anymore. Yeah, because streaming has completely taken over. IKEA was like the last ones, but they got rid of all their media shelves too. You can still buy bookcases, but that's about it.
I find that hard to believe because everybody likes sitting in front of their shelves for their YouTube videos. There's got to be a market for media shelving.
Well, I did buy some on Wayfair. That's where I was able to find some. I had to order them from far away. Actually, Sarah found them and said, because I was debating whether I should build some or whatnot, and she found those on Wayfair, so I ended up buying those.
If anything, YouTube should produce their own line of those things for records, for DVDs, for CDs, for action figures, video games. YouTube's really missing out.
The action figure ones you can still get, like they're called curio cabinets, right? And anytime I was looking at curio cabinets, there was always like photos of people, like family portraits or knickknacks and all that. And then the last image was always action figures. Like you can use these for action figures too.
The Dean shelves.
Yeah. Okay, so one more theory. One more person had a theory. It says, Mars, I have a theory about Joe, and I think he might be in love with Bill. I thought this one was really interesting.
All right, that is interesting.
He is jealous of you. Oh, sorry, I didn't write this. He is jealous of your and Bill's friendship, and therefore feels threatened by you. He feels it is necessary to constantly have you look bad in front of Bill to make sure Bill remains loyal to him. Interesting.
Right, I could see that one being the most reasonable out of the bunch. Because if you want to you don't, when there's some kind of conflict, you don't just immediately jump into that conversation. You beat around the bush. You bring up other topics. You get people thinking subliminally. So if he's constantly referencing you and talking about you and this and that, then that's going to make Bill go, "Oh, is this about me? What am I doing wrong?"
Well, yeah, I think this person may be onto something. He was easily the most. I respect everybody who sent in comments and that, but that one was like by somebody who I really respect, and I think he might be onto something. So,
All right.
So of course, the berating just didn't end there. It had to continue. But the second round wasn't just myself; it was this program, and unfortunately, my pal Richard even got some shrapnel here.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, a little bit. There's a little bit, but yeah, here we go. Here is Joe and Bill with their new guest.
Yeah, we need to introduce people to our new intern.
Okay.
So, guys, we have a new person on the show. We'd like to introduce everybody to Gary. Gary, you are on speakerphone. Say hi to everybody. So, Gary, obviously, you are not human. Just letting everybody know that wasn't some mumbling person. That's Gary the chimpanzee. He is the new STC pod intern.
So what's he do for us?
Well, we sort of pilfered him from Fandango.
Oh,
Right, Gary, you were on Fandango, and how was it? Oh, geez. Well, those of you that don't speak chimpanzee, it was not very good. Gary, what was the worst? What was the worst part about it? Like, why didn't you like interning over there? Holy crap! You don't have to be that vulgar. Translation: Kevin forced him to play a bunch of PC games.
oh,
So, Gary, you don't have to worry about that here on STC. Here we are real gamers. We only play console games.
well, Gare. I haven't had the pleasure yet of meeting Mr. Rambox in person, but what was that like to work with him? He touched you where? Uh-oh. Okay, sorry to bring that up, Gary. I can't say you won't get a little bit of that working at Joe's desk, but certainly won't be as ferocious.
Yes. Well, we will teach you how to be a real podcaster, Gary. You watch, you observe. Like I said, no PC gaming here, only consoles, and we have all the cigarettes and booze that you want to drink. All right, so Gary, I'm going to put you on mute for a second here, and Bill and I are going to continue on. Sit back and listen. Watch how professionals do it. Watch how award-winning professionals do it.
Wow.
Maybe we can get some secrets that he may have overheard over at the Sinister compound.
What makes you think that's not what he's doing to us? That he's an actual mole to steal our secrets?
No, he told me that he was really unhappy. Plus,
Okay.
he knows what I'll do to him. We should probably jump into our breaking.
There you go. So he knows what he'll do to him. Well, actually, I got to say, Bill was on point. Jerry was indeed a mole. That
Jerry or Gary?
What did they say his name was? I don't know. Gary. That's no. Yeah, Gary. That's right. It was Gary. His real name is Jerry, but he went under the guise as Gary. So we'll call him Gary just for simplicity, so everybody knows. Anyways, Gary was indeed or is indeed a mole. Actually, I do have Gary here. If you'd like to speak with him, Richard. Of course, it's just audio. I just have audio here, but Gary, can you say hello to the Fandango listeners? Come on, Gary. There's Gary. And Gary, you do not sound like a chimpanzee. You actually sound like an elephant. Is that correct? It is. Okay. There's a little bit of a delay. He's far away.
Gary's a little slow.
So Gary, how is it that you are an elephant and Bill and Joe thought you were a monkey or a chimpanzee, I should say? Oh, I see. You are in disguise. Okay. Well, see, what I should say is that Gary is a friend of mine, and we had a bet. Well, he actually bet me $100 that he could infiltrate SDC Pod and pretend to be a monkey. And I said, Gary, you're an elephant. There's no way that they would mistake you for a monkey. I'll take that bet. He's like, I can do it. So, Gary, can you let our listeners know how you fooled? You're a big elephant. How you fooled Bill and Joe into believing you're a monkey? Okay, so for those of you who don't, okay, yes, I got it. So for those of you who don't know elephant, what Gary did was he held a banana in his trunk, and the banana fooled them into believing that he was a monkey. Is that right? Okay, that's definitely right. Okay. So one of the things that Joe said you would not turn on him is that you were afraid of what he might do to you. Are you afraid at all, Gary, of what Joe might do to you? No, eh? Okay. No way. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. So there you have it. That is Gary the elephant who infiltrated the STC Pod and made them believe that he was a monkey.
There you go. 10th caller gets tickets to ZZ Top. What kind of radio nonsense are we doing?
This is the morning zoo. Poor Curtis, he's not having a good time. He's not liking this episode.
Yeah, this is probably what Curtis has to endure when he's on like a casting call or something and just watch it all. Oh, sure. Hey, acting's easy.
Hey, look, I was ready just to talk about movies, but I get attacked, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with myself. So.
Even Joe was tapping out. Can we stop and maybe get some movie talk, please?
Well, that's because Joe doesn't like it because we're making fun of him. It's okay to go on his show and rant about me for no reason. I mean, I leave the guy alone. I don't even talk about him. I just get all this shrapnel my way for nothing. I mean, I post.
Just think of it as a free exposure.
I go out once last month. I went to a record store and I posted what I had bought, and that offends him. But I think the jealousy guy is onto something. I think he might be a little bit. I think he might be a little bit jealous of me. He might be a little bit jealous of our relationship. He says it's all out of love.
There you go.
All right.
Well, I got to tell you, I think Joe's going to start fawning over me because I got a nice stack of movies over here.
All right.
High quality.
By the way, the soundboard's back. Was there anything that you wanted to hear that you haven't heard for a while?
There was a request. I don't even want to say it because we want to hear the soundboard say it.
Was it
Curtis was making a request.
Was it
Valid Cocoon?
Was it that one?
Oh, that's a lot slower than I remember.
You know what? Let's see. Did I fix that one? I can't find it. It was having problems playing some MP3s a little bit slower, but I converted most of them to WAV files, and it seemed to have no. It's not the WAV file.
Valid Cocoon.
Yeah, no, that's right.
That's just how it was.
Yeah,
it has been like 12 years since we said that.
Nah, has it been that long?
I have no idea.
Also got sauce here.
Num. That is a little slower.
Those are MP3s. I made sure Melissa's was right, the Fandango queen here.
Back that ass up.
Made sure that was right.
Mm-hmm.
Made sure Cliffy was right.
What's up with that?
What's up with that?
yeah.
We got to get some fresh samples from people.
There you go. I redeemed myself just with that. Just with that. Oh, and of course, which one is J-Rock? That one.
Hey guys!
He's back.
No!
There you go. We finally got J-Rock back on the show.
Hey.
Okay. Movies.
Yeah.
Go.
Want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. Last time I talked about this shop I went to. It was going out of business, shutting down, and it was like stuff was up to 70% off. I had a funny feeling because they had their final weekend last weekend, and I had a funny feeling maybe those prices are gonna those deals are gonna get better the last day. Maybe they're just gonna blow things out.
Yeah.
And so then all movies, if you bought a certain amount, they would go to 90% off. I was like, okay, I'm grabbing some more movies, cheap movies. And I had to buy at least 10. So there are some stinkers in here that just overall brought everything down to roughly $1 a piece, or in some cases like 30 cents a piece, depending on what it was. I've got only one Blu-ray of the bunch. I didn't really want this, but it was one of those you got to get something. So I got a copy of Watchmen
Okay.
on Blu-ray, which I've seen before. It's okay. I mean, it's honestly a pretty good movie. It's just I'd rather watch the comic, read the comic. So,
Yeah. I thought it was okay too.
it's all right. It's all right. Some others in that. I'll start with the ones that I haven't seen because some of these I started watching. October Sky. Have you ever seen this?
No.
It's got Laura Dern in it.
Okay.
I like Laura Dern.
Yeah.
What else you got in here? I got a copy of AI, which
Mm.
I've really been wanting to watch again because I remember not being thrilled with this movie,
Yeah, me too.
but I kind of want to give it another go.
Yeah, I need to give it another watch too.
October
Curtis says-
Sky is great.
There you go.
All right, I
Curtis
got a
gives
winner.
it 2 thumbs up.
Speaking of 2 thumbs up, I got The Pianist.
Ah, that's a good
Which-
movie.
I've never seen this one
It's not.
either.
It's not like a delightful watch. It's.
I yeah, I know. That's probably one of the reasons I've never really watched it is because sometimes it's hard to sit down and feel like you got punched in the stomach
Yeah.
from watching a movie.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's one of those movies that does that for sure. It's like Schindler's List. Good, important, but
no, this one I've heard nothing but bad things about. Gothica with Halle Berry. This is
Yeah.
when she decided she wanted to be like a serious. Like, no. This was some kind of creepy horror or something.
yeah. I've never heard good things about it.
Yes, but it does feature in the special features here. Behind Blue Eyes by Limp Bizkit.
Well, there you go.
So,
Wow, that's a reason to pick up a DVD right there.
there you go.
More like
More like Nautica.
Nautica. Curtis, you're on a roll.
I guess Curtis has seen all these.
I don't need the soundboard. We got Curtis.
There you go. We just have to. There you go. I've never seen this either. The Omen,
That's good.
25th anniversary edition.
Yeah. It's it's kind of been like it's one of those movies that's kind of been done. Like
When did this movie come out?
mid 70s. Like it's kind of
My
been like
glasses.
I think a lot of the movies' originality has become tropes over the years. The creepy kid and all that stuff. So
Okay.
But
Well, yeah,
it's good.
if you go back, if you can put that out of your head and see like where, one of the earlier film. I don't know if this is the first one to do it, or at least one of the earlier ones.
And most importantly, the second Doctor is one of the actors in that. Has a smaller role as a priest. Patrick Troughton. I think that's his name.
What do you mean, smaller actors role as a
So
priest? What?
the second Doctor from Doctor Who, The second Doctor.
Oh, okay. I don't know what you're talking
Sorry,
about.
I was speaking geek, and
Oh.
when I say the Doctor, most people know what I'm talking about. But
I immediately thought of Bobby Picardo when you said doctor.
oh, right. Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Mhm.
This one still sealed.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Meet the Parents.
oh! I got like 12 copies of that.
I have never seen it, and this one cost over 4,000 yen
Wow,
when it was in the shops.
that's one of my wife's favorite movies. Sarah,
Is
as
it?
some people call it. Oh yeah,
This
she loves that
I know they went on to make like I don't know, like a couple of sequels that I've never seen any of them. So.
the first one was a little bit like lightning in a bottle, and then the second one's,
Was
second and
more
third are
money,
just
more money.
trying to get the lightning back in the bottle, and it's not working. Mrs. Doubtfire is one of Curtis's favorite comedies of all time.
I haven't seen it in a very long time. I've seen it multiple times when I was younger, but
I don't know how they cannot see that it's Robin Williams. He talks like Robin Williams. He looks like Robin Williams. He's moving around like. How could you not know that's not Robin Williams?
We're gonna try an experiment.
Okay.
One of these days, I'm gonna put on the whole getup. I'm gonna put on a fake mask. I'm gonna wear different clothes. I'm gonna put on a funny voice,
Okay.
and you'll see.
All right.
I bet you for at least 5 minutes you're gonna be confused.
All right. Joe has a question here. It's like, do you guys ever get surprised when you hear someone say they haven't seen an older movie yet?
No, because it's true for me.
Me too.
So-
Like sometimes there's just movies that just escape you. Like you mean to watch them. Everybody's seen them. You mean to get to them, but it eludes you for whatever reason. So
Yeah, I could shock you all with the movies I've never seen. I've still never seen Saving Private Ryan.
I've
never seen Scarface.
That's good.
I've never seen Dog Day Afternoon, which I also picked up. And this was an old rental copy. It's got the old rental case.
Now, does that one have the documentary on it about what's his face?
I can't tell because there's a sticker covering part of this, but I don't think so.
I'm blanking on his name.
Blanking on who?
So there's a guy. He was in the 70s. He played Fredo in the Godfather 1 and 2. And he only did 5 movies, but all 5 of those movies were incredible blockbusters. He was in The Godfather 1 and 2, Dog Day Afternoon, The Deer Hunter, and one more. Yeah, that's him. That's him. I'm blank. John. See, I knew Curtis would have it. John Cazale.
John Cazale, yeah, he's second build here.
Oh, I didn't know he was married to Meryl Streep. Conversation.
Oh, then he doesn't need to do anything else. He's got so much money.
Well, he died. That's why he didn't do anymore.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Okay. Never mind.
So, I guess I should have finished that story.
Yeah. And when I saw this in the store, I picked it up solely because I remember Curtis telling me I should watch this, and I just never got around to it.
All right, all nominated and or won Best Picture. Those were all the films that he were.
Huh. Okay, I've got another mixture here. Some of these are from different shops. This was another rental copy. I picked up Highlander, which I remember turning off when we watched it on Fandango. I couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I watched it last night. It still sucks.
Yeah, I don't understand the appeal to that movie at all.
The concept is what people like, and probably a couple of lines of dialogue here and there.
It is a good concept. It is. It just doesn't make any sense. The whole movie.
Yeah, I mean, well, they continued. They made a couple more movies. They had a TV show.
Yeah.
They
Two
did
TV
a bunch
shows.
of things with it.
2 TV shows. There was the Highlander, and then Highlander the Raven.
Do you know this because you aired these shows?
Yes, I did.
That's an odd bit of trivia for you to spit out so easily.
Yes, because they were cheap television shows that my cheap television station that I worked at could afford to air.
I don't know, but Curtis says they were all nominated and or won Best
No,
Picture.
he's talking about the Johnny C's movie here, Kazal. That's how you say it, or is it Kazali? I don't know.
I don't know. This was another rental pickup, Moonrise Kingdom, Wes Anderson movie.
Oh, I like that movie.
I hope to like it because honestly, I am on the edge with Wes Anderson movies. I
Oh,
kind
me
of
too.
love them and hate them.
Yeah, they're hit or miss. That to me, that was an absolute hit. That's a gem of a film. I actually bought the Criterion Collection version of it because I liked it so much. I don't know how you'll feel about it. It does have child actors in it.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was debating on it, and then my wife pointed out, "Oh, it's only like 90 minutes." All right.
Yeah, it is a short film. Curtis is a fan of the Highlander. He says it's preposterous, but it's got that guilty pleasure 80s cheese vibe going for it.
There is a little something to the Christopher Lambert's performance and everything where it's kind of weird. And I didn't realize that Clancy Brown plays the villain in there, so it was kind of fun.
And there you go.
Every
Chris,
time I see Clancy Brown in anything, I just think of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
And Curtis is not a Wes Anderson fan, but he really dug Moonrise. There you go.
Okay. I lied. I do have one more Blu-ray here, and it's a 3D Blu-ray.
You don't have to watch it in 3D though. Oh, there you go. That's why
I
you
got
need
my my Mila Jovovich obsession here.
Biohazard.
Again,
4.
it's all about the Alice, and this one, I will not watch. I don't have a 3D Blu-ray player, but I think this might be the second or third 3D movie that I have.
3D movies won't play in a regular Blu-ray player.
No, they won't, and and everybody has given up on it apparently because whenever I see a 3D Blu-ray in the shops, they're super cheap because nobody wants them.
Yeah, well, I find I'm not a fan of 3D myself, so I've avoided them like the plague.
Queen did the whole soundtrack for Moonrise Kingdom. It's amazing.
No, the music for Highlander is good because Queen did it. But
I used to have the soundtrack.
Actually, I got to be talking about a movie's soundtrack soon, so I shouldn't.
Okay, well, let me speed through these so you can get to yours. Some of these are
no need to speed.
Let's do. All right, I'll take my time then.
Take your time. We're in no hurry.
Okay, these are movies that I picked up recently that I did watch. I'll start with ones that I've mentioned before. My Chuck Norris action pack. I watched 3 of the 4. I watched Missing in Action, Code of Silence, and Lone Wolf McQuade. And they are Chuck Norris movies.
And what's the fourth one? What's the fourth one?
The Delta Force.
Oh, okay.
Which I haven't watched because that one's like 2 hours. The others were 90 minutes. I gotta admit though, one of these, I believe it was Lone Wolf McQuade, was pretty good. Code of Silence was actually pretty good too, in a Chuck Norris movie kind of way.
Mm-hmm.
And Lone Wolf McQuade has Chakotay from Voyager.
Oh,
A very young Robert Beltran. I also watched Sister Act.
nice.
And I gotta say, I still really like Sister Act. It's such a crowd pleaser of a movie.
It is a good movie. Nothing wrong with Sister Act.
Oh, mistake. One more Blu-ray. I also watched Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
It's not a good movie, but it sure is a fun movie.
Okay.
I once thought I'd ironically watch a bunch of Chuck Norris films. I bought and began with Lone Wolf McQuade. That was when my chronic marathon began and ended.
Lone Wolf McQuade.
Lone Wolf McQuade.
Sorry.
It's kind of the I'm guessing Walker Texas Ranger was kind of based on that role because he is a Texas Ranger in that movie. So maybe due to some licensing issues, they had to change the name or whatever.
Probably.
But it's essentially doing the same character. Or he really just likes Texas Rangers. I watched Bats.
Oh, is that like the old one? The old.
This is Lou Diamond
Oh, that one.
Phillips
Okay.
and Dina Mayer. You know this? I've never heard of this before.
Well, I know that there was an old like horror film called Bats, and for some reason it's not lumped in with the other monster movie ones because I guess it's not really like a monster. It's like they're just bats,
Mhm.
but it's like of that era. And then yeah, they remade it.
That looks like it belongs on Tubi. It does. It is. It's terrible. It's terrible. And I'm really sick of this. I've seen so many movies lately that copy the opening to Jurassic Park, where they're digging up the dinosaur fossil, and then the helicopter comes down, and then Hammond comes to recruit them for something. Like I've seen that in so many movies now, where I want to say Jurassic Park might have been the first one to do it, but they do it in this. They do it in Alien versus Predator. I watched some garbage movie on Netflix called Troll a little while ago. They do it in that. It's just there's always somebody working. Helicopter lands. Says, we need you. You're an expert.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a cliche for sure.
yeah, it's very frustrating.
Curtis
That
has
Troll
seen
movie.
Curtis has seen Bats at the video store, but he never watched it. He wanted you to know that.
It does have a good cover. It was creative
That is
to
creative,
flip the
yeah.
title upside down.
Yeah.
It's complete garbage.
Poor Lou Diamond Phillips.
I do like Lou Diamond Phillips. He seems like a nice guy.
He just doesn't seem to have any good movies.
No. He was in the Young Guns movies.
That's right. And La Bamba.
Was that a good movie? I've never seen that.
I don't like them.
Hmm.
Joe wants to know if Bats came out the same time as Arachnophobia. What year did Bats come out?
Bats was 1999. Arachnophobia
Oh.
was early 90s.
Yeah, Bats is way.
I saw that in the theater. Okay, we're getting to movies that I watched that I did enjoy, somewhat. I finally got a
Hey.
copy of Twins,
Right on.
and I didn't realize 4x3.
Ah, full screen. Damn you.
Yeah,
Early
they
DVDs.
got me. I gotta switch that out. All right, this one I watched. Again, this was like I got it for like 30 cents or something. I kind of liked parts of it. I did not like
Okay.
most of it. Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Okay. I've been curious about that movie.
Well, yeah, you know what you're getting, but I was thought, all right, is there at least going to be something kind of fun and a little bit? I mean, it's just such a stupid idea, and I don't mind stupid idea if it's entertaining, but you don't even worry about that.
Okay. So I don't need to see it.
No. All right, now we're getting to the good stuff. Even this one, I enjoyed it, but I thought I was going to enjoy this more. The Full Monty.
Okay. That's another one of Sarah's favorites.
It's not bad. It's got some really good moments. I laughed out loud at a couple of parts, but I don't know. For some reason, it felt a little slow. I thought they were going to, go for a little more edge.
Oh, I'm getting compliments on my hoodie, so I have to call out that. Deke is thanking me for the Sam the Record Man hoodie. This was a Christmas gift from Sarah.
I remember that post.
That's right.
Joe there, I thought Abraham was too realistic. I was looking for something more fantasy-like.
Okay.
I mean, that's the big thing is I'm assuming, I know this was based on a book, and I'm assuming the author was American. And this just shows you what people think of their history and their culture. I don't know. Okay, 2 good movies now. I did watch Do the Right Thing.
Okay.
I very much enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. More than enjoying it, I was very impressed by how well Spike Lee juggled like so many characters in one story.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that they all felt like they were developed enough. Some of them were little side characters, but very effective. There's only a couple little nitpicks I have with the movie, but overall it was very good.
I got to say that might be the only Spike Lee film that I truly enjoyed.
Well, he got such a name for himself as being like the independent filmmaker. You know, he got a good buzz off of his first couple of movies, and then he went mainstream Hollywood, and you like his movies are so forgettable.
Hmm.
Like some of the ones that I've seen that are just kind of regular mainstream, and there's nothing there if he because the content isn't there. He had something to say about life in the city, you know, and the like in this movie, all the racial tension of people being together in this one block. But when he does like Inside Man, that sounds like a bland Hollywood movie that some no name they would get to direct it. You know?
I'm not sure what that is.
I don't even
Inside
know what
Man.
it is either. I know I saw one. I believe it was his movie. Did he do the remake of like Old Boy with Josh Brolin? I want to say that was his movie.
I don't know.
It was terrible.
Hmm.
Hang on a second there. Spike Lee
Oh,
Joints.
Black Klansman. That was pretty good.
Was that it?
Yeah, I think so. What did I give that? Yeah, 3.5 stars. So that was good.
She's Gotta Have It, Mo Better Blues, Bamboozled, Crooklyn. I haven't seen most of these.
No, The Five Bloods. That was awful. Oh, I gave it 3 stars. See, my memory's weird, man. My memory's weird. Like 3 stars means I liked it enough, but I remember there was some really dumb things in it. Oh my goodness. See, a lot of times if I say
Jungle
I hate a movie,
Fever, that was a big one.
I think those are the only ones I've seen.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
Malcolm
gotta get
X
up
I
on
watched
that.
a long time ago. I don't remember it too much.
One thing I thought was extremely interesting, and I had to look this up. I was amazed. I had watched Sister Act, and then I watched Do the Right Thing. Bill Nunn, the actor, is in both of these. In Do the Right Thing, he plays Radio Raheem, who I believe is meant to be like a teenage, early 20s kind of character. Because I thought, yeah, he looks like a young guy. And when they refer to him at the end of the movie, they're like, oh, spoilers, you didn't have to kill the boy, you know? Like he's a young kid. He's also in Sister Act, and he looks like he's 45 years old. These movies were made 3 years apart. It's insane.
That's a good actor.
I don't know. I
Play
mean,
a
I guess
range.
the mustache and the blazer does a lot for it.
Sometimes that's all it takes, yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, he remade Old Boy. Yuck. Okay.
Old Boy.
That movie, like, I know that it was a remake, and I've never seen the original, and the original gets some praise, but yuck is exactly right. That's how you feel after watching that movie. Here's another one I was really looking forward to. Oh, hey, it's Bill.
Oh, you missed a lot, Bill. You got to go back.
Yeah, you sure did.
You missed listening to your own voice.
Yeah. And Gary. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, the 1978, 79?
Donald Sutherland one?
Donald Sutherland, Leonard Nimoy.
Yes.
Really good.
Mhm.
I love this movie. This was great.
How about that ending?
Oh, I finally get the gift now.
Yeah.
It was great. I loved it. This is a really entertaining movie. Okay, I just got 2 more things. These are just things that I ordered online because I saw them and they were good price, so I wanted them. I got the Critters collection. It's got all 4 Critters movies. I don't know if you've ever seen the Critters.
I haven't seen any of them, but I know people who are looking to collect them. The
first 2 were on TV all the time when I was a kid, and I could only get it as an import. This is a European Region 2 DVD, but it was cheap, and I don't know. I've heard only bad things about 3 and 4, but I guess I'll watch them at some point. And I also got the Naked Gun trilogy.
Right on.
There we go. All my stuff.
Wow. That's all you picked up just within the last.
Well, no, some of these I had,
Oh,
but
okay.
like I said, it was that store was going out of business, so you had to buy a bunch of things to get them cheap, and then
Yeah.
I happened to pick up.
So what was
other
the total
things.
cost of what you bought? Do you remember?
Oh, it wasn't much. It was probably like a little over $10 for the stack at the one
Yep.
shop.
Yeah.
And then some of these, like the rental ones, the rental shop near me, occasionally they purge their old stock, and they're remaking Naked Gun with Liam Neeson. No, that's not real.
Curtis, what's your source?
No. Is that no? There was a critter in the toilet in the first movie.
Fox is just reacting to the chat now. If you're listening
sorry,
to this, people are commenting on critters, and if there was a critter in the toilet, there's your reference. Okay,
there you go.
That's a dangerous part of the chat. The chat giveth, and the chat taketh away.
So I the rental stuff, they do it like you get 3 for $10, 5 for $10. They change the deal up here and there, so I will go check them out. Maybe I'll even check them out this weekend. Sometimes they have a better deal on the weekend. I've seen Critters, says Rocket Sauce.
I got to go back to this Naked Gun remaking. Why would they do that? That's just there's nothing to remake there. Just leave that alone.
It's like remaking Ernest. You can't change. You can't top the performance. But they'll still try, and they'll fail, and they'll make a couple of bucks, and that's it.
I mean, I suppose the closest they had come to, I think, pulling it off. I think Steve Martin actually did a pretty good job as Inspector Clouseau in the first movie, anyways. But I mean, you got to have someone of the caliber of Steve Martin to pull that off. I don't think Liam Neeson is that. Now there's a whole debate about Liam Neeson. Have you not seen Taken? I've seen Taken. I didn't think it was that great. Made no sense.
I've never seen Taken.
Yeah. Anyways, okay.
Sauce the Giant Ball was in part 2.
Okay.
Just so you know.
All right. What do we want to start with? Do you want to start with well, let's see. I watched a Chuck Norris movie. Do you want to start with that? Or...
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Great segue from
right.
like 15 minutes ago.
Here's my Chuck Norris movie that I watched. We watched this. So Sarah and I have been having bad movie night, sometimes with people over, sometimes just on our own.
Look at you being all social and having people in your house.
The first bad movie night we did, it was the 2 movies we watched was Samurai Cop, which I don't know if you've heard of, but
I've seen it.
Okay. That was hilarious, hilariously bad. It was the unintentionally funny film of the night. And the second movie I watched is
wait, don't you want to talk about all the man taint in that movie?
Man taint.
There's a whole lot of like Speedo wearing samurai.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, I somehow blocked that out of my memory. I know it was funny because so the way we set things up, because we've been having people over, we changed our setup in the movie room a little bit, and we have a futon on one side and a smaller IKEA couch on the other side, a couple of chairs, so everybody has room to sit down and watch the movie. And Sarah was sitting on the futon right up close to the TV. And when those 2 actors got together and it was nothing but arse on the TV screen, Sarah was like, ah. She was
sorry, how did you watch Samurai Cop? Do you have a copy?
So a couple of my friends want to have a bad movie night. And I said, okay, let's set it up, and we set it up, and one of them just bought it. He bought the Blu-ray. He's like, I got to have this movie in my collection, so he bought it, and I don't think he made a mistake. It's
Well, if you're the way you watched it is probably
Yeah.
the perfect way.
I mean, you could not watch that movie by yourself in any sort of serious way because um,
I did.
you watched it in a serious way. You
Well,
wanted to
no,
see
I
it?
knew what it was, but I
Okay.
did watch it on my own.
Do you know any of the story behind that movie? I don't know any of the. I don't.
Um, I do believe that the filmmaker was not American.
Right, and he wanted to come over to America and make an American film or a film that would appeal to Americans, and that's what he came up with. And it's
And I believe the film was, there's kind of the famous scene is like his hat comes off, the wig falls off, and everything.
Yes.
So obviously, they shot it in 2 different batches.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, yeah. So they shot. It's really weird because they shot the movie apparently, and then they had to come back and do reshoots. And the main character in the movie has this big, long mane of hair. And when he came back to do the reshoots, he cut it all off. And so they had to do half the movie with him wearing this wig, and he has a ball cap on to keep the wig on because the wig kept flying off. But the odd thing is that I would say at least 60% of the movie is him with the wig on. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how are all these the reshoots? Like a reshoot is like, oh, the scene didn't work or whatever. We got to redo this scene. That's your reshoot. Or that might happen like 3 or 4 times throughout the movie. 60% of this movie needed to be reshot.
Yeah.
And then apparently he got reaction shots from actors like months after they shot initial scenes. So like colors don't match. The backgrounds are different. It's something else. It is something else to see. So keep an eye out for Samurai Cop. So that was the unintentionally funny movie that we watched. And then we watched a sort of intentionally bad film called Velocipaster.
Wait, say that again?
Velocipaster. So
Velocipaster, as in like a priest?
He is a priest who gets possessed by a velociraptor.
All right.
And proceeds to kill people. Now, I was told a few scenes of this movie before we watched it. One of them was that there is a car explosion, and instead of seeing the car explode, there's just a graphic that comes up on the screen that says VFX semicolon car explosion. Now I thought, okay, we're going to get to that at some point, but that's almost the opening of the movie right at the start. And then the Velocipastors, I'm expecting some really bad CG, right? Like that's going to be the look of the Velocipaster. They paid some guy, $300 to do the graphics. No, it's a guy in a rubber suit. It's a guy in a rubber suit, and
that's better than a terrible, CGI.
I don't know.
Effect.
I think you would really like that movie, though. I think that's a movie that I got to get to Richard somehow. Maybe we can get Creepy Josh when he listens to this to put it in the Plex for you.
Right.
So you can check that out.
Velocipaster.
It is only 90 minutes.
Well, it also sounds kind of like a movie that is intentionally trying to be that, like, it's so bad it's entertaining.
Yes, and
the VFX thing, when you mention that, it sounds like if you did that, like if that were a Naked Gun gag and you had somebody with talent pull that off in like a mainstream movie where you're supposed to have an explosion, but they set it up like they don't have the budget or something, and then they did that could be a really funny gag. It sounds like they went for the same thing in this movie, but it's just like, nah, you're not.
Listen, you gotta give it. I wasn't sold on it as well because unintentionally funny is way funnier than intentionally funny any day of the week.
Yeah,
but I'm telling you, they made it work. They made it work in this movie.
Right.
I was laughing my ass off. Had nothing to drink, no fancy, no wobbly drinks or anything like that. I was straight, and I watched it, and it's an experience, if you will.
Oddly, no one in the chat has any comments about.
No, they haven't seen Velocipaster. Come on. Come on, Curtis. What do you have to say about Velocipaster? Okay, so the Chuck Norris movie I watched.
Maybe he was in Velocipaster, and that's why he's keeping quiet.
The Chuck Norris movie I watched. Now, unfortunately, I hate the cover on this because this DVD came out in like 2002 or something like that. So it's a more modern cover. I wish it was the classic cover. But I watched a movie called Breaker Breaker.
Oh, I was curious about that. He drives a big truck.
Well, it's funny. For a movie that's called Breaker Breaker, there's not much trucking in it. He does it's more of his brother that drives the truck, and he gets fooled into going into this small town, who does this regularly. They sucker trucks into coming into their small town, and then it's like, oh, it's going to cost you, $500 to fix this truck kind of thing. And then, then he doesn't have the money, so he's got to go before the judge. The judge throws him in jail. He's got perishable food. He's got perishable TV dinners on his truck that he needs to deliver. So then Chuck Norris has to go in and save him. The movie was shot in 11 days, and it looks like and feels like it was shot in about half that amount of time. It is very stiff and wooden. It is boring in parts, but it is also entertaining in many other parts. And as I was watching it, I was like, I have seen parts of this movie somewhere. Like there were scenes that were happening. I'm like, I remember this. I don't know where it was. And Conan O'Brien used to have this fake machine on the show, the Walker Texas Ranger machine, where he'd pull a lever and it would play a clip from Walker Texas Ranger, and it was always out of context and it was always like hilarious. Well, apparently one night he had a Walker Texas Ranger machine and a Breaker Breaker machine, and that's where I had seen some of the clips before. So
yeah, those I don't know, that Chuck Norris acting, he sure knows how to open his mouth and deliver lines.
Yeah, it was some acting. Okay, I have little. Curtis says I have little patience for films trying to be bad. I tell you, they sometimes it works. Sometimes it works. That's all I'm gonna say. And yes, it does. Velocipaster. It might be on Tubi. It might be. We watched it on DVD, but it might be. Okay, so that was the bad movies. Oh no, here's another bad movie I watched. And intentionally, I tried to watch Bulletproof Monk with and Sean William Scott. This might be one of the worst movies I have ever seen. It's still worse. It's still up there, but this was pretty close. Again, it's great to see early 2000s Toronto before they renovated the whole place. So it's awesome to see the downtown core and all that as it was 25 years ago. But this is awful. His character doesn't work. His character doesn't work. This character doesn't. None of these characters work. It's all wire foo.
But he's got two guns, and he probably shoots them at the same time.
And he's supposed to be a monk, but he's got guns. I don't know. It was pretty bad. Did not like that one. Okay. Another movie I did not like. So, as you may recall, I had watched The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
It's a movie I wanted to watch for a while again, and I really enjoyed it. I loved the pacing of it. It was an excellent film. So I wanted to give some more M. Night Shyamalan Ding Long a chance. So I grabbed myself my copy of Unbreakable. And as I watched Unbreakable, I was looking at my DVD limited edition copy of Unbreakable.
Wait, so you went out and bought a new copy even though you already had one?
So I had this. I had this for a while, a long time. And then when I was out thrifting, I had found this DVD copy of it. And it was just such a cool case,
Yeah. Sometimes you got to buy the package.
Right. And I mean, it was, $2.99, right? For this thing. So I'm like, I really got to watch this movie. I don't even know if I like it. And I watched it, and what a snooze fest, both of them can go back to the thrift stores.
Hmm.
Even after
I saw it once a long time ago. I got fuzzy memories.
it's funny because the story is not as good as The Sixth Sense. The twist in the movie is not as good as The Sixth Sense, but Shyamalan still wants to do all the same beats as The Sixth Sense. So, like for instance, when the reveal, the twist comes out, and I'm sitting and like when it happens in The Sixth Sense, you're like, oh my goodness, I want to watch this movie again. I can't believe that just happened. I want to see like what I missed. And when I watched it again this time, I was looking for like what are the tricks, and it's very clever done. Like the twist in that movie is very clever. In this movie, it's just like, oh, okay. But the movie is acting like as if it's just revealed like this amazing thing to you, and it's like it's really not that amazing. It's not that. A lot of the movie doesn't make any sense. I don't know if I should talk about the ending. I don't know if I should talk about the twist. I don't know what the heck I should talk about. I'm just saying. Let's see. What are people saying here? Let's see. I'm waiting to forget the twist until I watch Sixth Sense again. I don't think you'll ever forget it, Curtis.
Yeah,
That is
me too. That's why I've never seen it, because I'm waiting to forget the ending.
Okay, so Curtis says, I like Unbreakable deconstruction of the superhero genre. I think he nails. I can't get into it unless I spoil the movie. So I don't know if I want to spoil the movie.
Is there anybody else out there? Because I know the ending. I've seen it.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's one of those movies that I just don't want to.
I'll tell
Like,
you, sorry,
Go ahead.
one of the reasons that I am interested in watching it again is because he connected it to a couple of other movies.
Yeah.
Later on,
Which apparently is a
And
spoiler.
I did. I do remember enjoying Split. I think I had some issues with it, but overall I liked it, and I'm kind of curious about the one that came after that. Glass, I think it's called.
Well, it's a weird thing with him. Like my buddy Frank said it best. It's like I don't like too many M. Night Shyamalan movies, but I want to watch them. I still want to see them because there's like a curiosity involved in them, and I guess I kind of agree with that. So,
Well, you can't blame him. I mean, the guy, when The Sixth Sense came out and it was such a huge hit, he went straight to the top, and then it was like, okay, what do you got next? And
Yeah.
like, oh, well, I guess I can try doing that again.
well, that's what I mean. Like the story didn't warrant that kind of those kind of beats and that kind of film. I think if they just would have came out right off the top with what's going on, it would have been fine. But instead, it's like to me, it was just really long, really drawn out. The pacing wasn't there. I was just like, let's get on with it. Let's go already. Okay. What do we got next? Okay, so I've continued my pilgrimage with the Kevin Smith films.
Mm-hmm.
I watched Clerks 2 on HD DVD, and I enjoyed it. It holds up. Still a funny movie. Again, it kind of falls under the same beats that Kevin Smith used in Clerks, but I mean it's Clerks 2, so I like it when he is using like part of his really when he's putting part of his life into movies. I think that's when he is at his best. So that was good. I watched Zach and Miri make a porno. I actually watched it with Sarah, and it's funny when I said, "Hey, my next Kevin Smith movie is Zach and Miri make a porno," and she said, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll watch that with you. I remember it being good." And then she says, "But it's just Zach and Miri, right?" And I said, "No, it's Zach and Miri make a porno." She's like, "But on your Blu-ray, it says just Zach and Miri." And sure enough, I went and checked, and it says just Zach and Miri. And then on the side, just Zach and Miri. Isn't that
Censorship,
weird?
huh?
Yeah, I guess they didn't want the porno word, or maybe they didn't want to to be confused with a porno or something.
Well,
But
yeah. Well, I'm assuming it's an R rating.
it is an R rating.
So it's not like, something kids would accidentally pick up, or parents. I guess it's got to be marketing. They got to feel like, well, that's going to hurt our sales or distribution in some way. Take it off. Just like how you add a subtitle to a movie to make it more appealing, like Answer the Call.
Yeah. I'd be curious to know what you think of this movie, because it's not very Kevin Smith-ish. It's like Kevin Smith kind of light. He kind of went for definitely a more mainstream audience with it. Seth Rogen, I know you don't like Seth Rogen, but in this movie he's very low, like he's trying to be a leading man kind of thing,
Mhm.
and he really works at being charming, and I think he pulls it off. And I think this is probably one of the best movies that Kevin Smith has done. It was
If I
funny,
ever, if I ever come across it, I'll give it a shot.
and I think that well, again, he puts his own life into it, right? Like part of the movie is they make a porno, and it's like, where are we going to shoot the porno? Well, why don't I shoot it where I work, kind of thing, which is what Kevin Smith did with the first movie, right? Clerks, like he shot Clerks at where he works at night. So good stuff. Curtis says Kevin Smith films are either your thing or not. There's not much in between. See, I find his movies hit or miss. There are ones that I really like, and then ones that are just I don't get. So can't wait until you get to Red State and Tusk. I really dug those. Okay, well, Curtis dug those. Right now my next one is Red State, so keep it locked in here. And Curtis agrees that Zack and Miri is underrated. And for the record, he thinks that I will hate Red State and Tusk. Okay, well, should be interesting. Okay, so then the final.
I didn't realize that he had made so many movies.
Well, he's been around for 30 years, so you make a movie every 2-3 years. They add up. So then the final Kevin Smith movie I watched was Cop Out, which is a lot of people don't see this as a Kevin Smith movie because he didn't write it. But when I watched this time, I did see a lot of his writing and style in the film. So I'm sure he doctored a lot of the script. This movie is infamous for Kevin Smith and Bruce Willis not getting along. Mm-hmm. Kevin Smith has been very vocal about how much he did not get along with Bruce Willis in the movie, since has backtracked a lot of what he said, or backpedaled, because the whole outcome with Bruce Willis's health issues and all that.
I mean, he had his opinion long before he knew that. I don't think it's necessary to backpedal unless he's just doing the Hollywood thing.
I think he's doing the Hollywood thing.
Because he was just because even though I've never seen it, I don't watch a lot of Kevin Smith movies. I know a lot about his comments about Bruce Willis and that. And if the guy was just being like a jerk and not participating and not wanting to cooperate, he has every right to complain about that.
Well, let me tell you something, Richard. See, I'm a little closer to Kevin Smith's age than you are. And with age, you kind of mellow. You do mellow. And you look back at things and you're like, was that really worth all fighting about? Was that all worth it? Was that just, and you just kind of mellow out. And I think that's what Kevin Smith is doing. He's just kind of mellowing out on the whole thing. Because really, from what I understand, Bruce Willis's problem with Kevin Smith was that he was smoking a lot of pot on set. And Bruce Willis was like, that's just not professional, kind of thing. And I think that's where the rift was, where, I remember listening to Kevin Smith's podcast from around when Cop Out came out, and he was great. Like, just everything was about pot. Like, he was totally into the pot culture. And I think a lot of his movie making suffered because of that, because he was so obsessed with all that stuff. Anyways, Cop Out is not a great movie. It's not a movie that I think Richard would like in the slightest. I would be shocked if you lasted 2 minutes watching this movie.
Explain.
Because I think one of the mistakes Kevin Smith made there's a lot of good things in the movie, but the biggest mistake he made was that Tracy Morgan is over the top, right, in the film.
Mhm.
And he went from 0 to 60 in no time. The very first scene, Tracy Morgan is like over the top right away. He doesn't ease you into what you're going to be seeing. Like they needed to like let you sit in a little bit and like work your way up to Tracy Morgan's craziness. This was just like bam, bam, bam. And the opening scene that he's doing, he's over the top, and it's one of the weaker scenes in the movie. It's him interrogating a prisoner or a person that they have in custody because they're looking for somebody else. And Tracy Morgan just goes in there and just starts yelling quotes from movies. And it's not really making too much sense, right? He's just yelling it in his own voice and just saying like lines from Scarface or whatever. None of it was making too much sense. It was even to the point where Kevin Smith would cut away to Bruce Willis, who was telling you what movie he was quoting, because they were kind of obscure quotes. They weren't quotes that you could easily recognize either. It was a really bizarre, awkward scene. And I doubt that many people made it past there. It probably turned a lot of people off. But as the movie moves along, you get a little more used to what Tracy Morgan's doing. And you get introduced to some other characters. Kevin Pollak plays like there's like another, like, in a buddy cop movie, you have the buddy cops, and then you have the other two cops who are, dicks to your buddy cops.
Yes,
right?
yes.
But while Kevin Pollak plays one of those cops, he's only in the movie for maybe about 5 minutes, but he was gold in all of his scenes. He was really funny. And I can't remember who played his partner, but he was pretty good too. And Sean William Scott is actually in this movie, a little smaller role, and his character kind of works. It's okay. So there's some good moments in it. Harold Faltermeyer, who you might remember did the soundtrack for Beverly Hills Cop and the Fletch movies.
Okay.
He has not scored very many movies since the 80s, but Kevin Smith got him back to do this soundtrack. And it was quite nice to hear him scoring a movie again. And I wish that, like, anytime in the movie when they would go to a classic rock song or something like that, I wish that they would just go to Harold there and just let him score this part of the movie instead of listening to some tired trope of a song. But I gave it 3 stars. I think it was a generous 3 stars, but it's not terrible. It's not a terrible movie. It's just okay. It's an okay film.
Okay.
All right. So that's where I am at with the Kevin Smith. I finally watched this movie, classic movie from the 80s, Black Moon Rising. Have you ever seen this?
Don't even know what that is.
So it is written by John Carpenter.
Okay.
Directed by some dude. I don't know who the dude is.
Some dude,
And
all right.
this movie starts off really well. You got your Tommy Lee Jones and your Linda Hamilton. And it's got the John Carpenter kind of music, that signature kind of music that he does.
Yep.
And he did the story. It doesn't say he did the music on the back, but a lot of the music was like his movies. Anyways, the first hour of this movie, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I found a hidden 80s gem. Nobody talks about this movie, and it is pretty gangbusters. And he drives like this cool Jeep around. It's good times. And then the second half of the movie happens, and it kind of just falls apart from there. It just kind of becomes like a ordinary story. There's just nothing much to it. Hardly worth your watch. So I'm on the fence about keeping this one. I don't know if I will ever watch it again, so I might just get rid of it. But it was an okay watch. Maybe stop it after the first hour and just keep that memory and not have to think about the second half of the movie. Okay, final physical copy of a movie I got is I finally got myself a copy of the 7 Ups.
Ooh, that was good.
Yeah. So I had to order this from Jolly Old England. As you
Mhm.
can see, the Peggy ratings on there because there was a company called Twilight Time that did have a North American copy of it, but they went out of business. They folded, so impossible to get. Luckily, I have a region-free Blu-ray player, so I was finally able to watch this. Sarah and I watched it again last night, and it's great. It's by basically the same team that did Bullet and The French
Mhm.
Connection. For some reason, this is like the third movie in the trilogy. I'll grant you, it's not as strong as those other movies, but it's still a very good film, and I don't know why it's ignored today. Uh, it's exciting. The car chase in here, I think it's my personal favorite out of all three of those
It
films,
was good.
and yeah, I really enjoyed it watching it. I think this is the third time I've watched it, and yeah, good times. So I was happy to get that in my collection. All right, one more
What?
movie.
Sorry, you're since you're on the topic of the Peggy. Does it say that it's B or something on the back, or does it
Yeah,
not list it?
it usually does. There it is, Region B.
Okay.
If
Yeah,
it'll
I guess that's it. I've noticed that a lot of Blu-rays don't have region coding.
yeah,
Certain like Warner Brothers, Universal, Disney, if they exclusively have distribution rights around the world, then
yep.
they usually don't bother with that. So it's really nice being able to uh, like I have a German copy of The Silence of the Lambs just because it was
Mm,
cheaper.
right.
So I was like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, 4K movies apparently are all region free. Although I have heard
All
some
right.
people say they've run into a region blocked one here and there, but they're supposed to be all region free. Um, and then a lot of the video games are region free now too, but the movies are still depending on what the distribution rights are or whatever, they're still kind of locked in that.
Yeah. At least
And
it's
it's
gotten better since DVD times. Because
yeah,
what were there
DVD
like?
was
Were there
insane.
4 or 5 different
More,
regions?
I think there was a few. I think there was at least a dozen because they even had like one for China. Like China had its own region, Australia had its own region. It was really, really
Yeah, that's
insane.
that's why I finally ordered these DVDs that also have the Peggy on them, because I had one European DVD that I assumed would not play in my DVD player because it's region 2, but it's PAL, and there's the whole PAL NTSC thing.
Right?
But
Yes.
I figured, what the heck, just pop it in my Blu-ray player, and it played fine. So I was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't have to worry about that. So now I can start buying region 2 stuff.
Now, Kurt's saying he remembers 5 regions. I'm guessing for DVD. There's only 3
Hmm.
for Blu-ray. Well, I think a part of it is what Richard was saying. Like it's the PAL NTSC, which you don't really have that problem with
Mm-hmm.
the HD DVD signal, because I think like both Japan and North America both use NTSC,
Right.
but on DVD there were different regions, right?
Right. North America's 1, Japan is 2, but 2 is also like Australia and parts of Europe. And I had an Arabic copy of Unforgiven years ago that was like region 2, and it played, but I don't know if it was because of like the region watching it in a different area or if it was just the quality of the DVD. The sound was out of sync by like
Oh,
half a second. Had to get
you
rid of
know,
that.
these people should just be happy that there's somebody out there still buying physical copies of discs. So let's just
Yeah,
not
I would
worry
imagine
about
that
what region we are.
nowadays
Yeah,
maybe they would be a little looser
yeah.
on those.
I mean, back in the day, it was to combat piracy, right? Because especially in India, it's just seen like piracy is just seen as part of their culture. They don't believe in the whole consumerism about around buying movies. Movies should just be free, and it was even rampant around the southern Ontario area where there would be, a store that was run by an Indian couple or whatever mom and pop store, and you'd go into the store, and the entire store would just be full of bootleg and pirate movies.
Mm-hmm.
Not much of them was North American. They were mostly the Bollywood stuff, but they would have to crack down on them, and it just wasn't seen as part of their culture. It's just a different culture, the way that they viewed those movies. So now Curtis is complaining about the region talk.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, I'm just very happy that North America and Japan are the same region, so it makes it very easy for me to buy Blu-rays and not have to worry if they're going to work.
Yeah. I think in a drop in the chat so we can just have a conversation and not have to worry about these jerks getting bored.
Oh, boy.
Anyways.
What else you got?
Okay, so the final movie I wanted to talk to you about, this is a movie I forgot to tell you about. And I watched that I don't know if you heard about it, this Deep Space Nine documentary.
Oh, What We Left Behind?
Yeah, have you seen that?
No, I haven't, but I am very curious.
Creepy Josh, you got to get this in the Plex for now Kevin is now sounding like Joe railing against the chat. At least we have a chat. Jeez. No, it was excellent. Creepy Josh, you got to get this in the Plex for Richard because I think you would really enjoy it. It came out in 2018. So everybody,
that long ago, huh?
Yeah, well, that's at least when it was copyrighted. It might have taken a while for it to actually come out, but everybody was still alive. Odo was still around. Nog was still around, and they got everybody together to do this documentary, except for Avery Brooks, who only shows up in the funny thing about it too. Yeah, archival footage. The funny thing about it too is it's really an amazing documentary. It's really something that I wish every fan of every TV show would get a documentary like this about one of their favorite shows years after it aired, because it was done by the showrunner, right? And he was watching those. You probably don't know about them, but CNN would do like these specials all the time, like the best shows from the 90s, best shows from the 80s or whatever. And he was watching this CNN best show from the 90s, and there was a clip about a show called Homicide, Life in the Street or something like that, and it had the majority of the cast on that show was black. And the talking bubbleheads are talking about the show, and they're like, it was really a unique show at the time because you did not see a black family leading a show like that. And so that got him all worked up because he's like, we did that on Deep Space Nine. We would deal with that all the time. So that got him stirred up to do this documentary because he felt like as if the show was kind of has been ignored a little bit over time. So he got everybody back. Avery Brooks didn't told him that he didn't want to do it, but Avery Brooks told him how to make the documentary. And basically said, just don't make it a bunch of talking heads. Actually get people together. Actually have, So there's that. Them all getting together and talking about their experiences on the show. He also gets the writers, like the few main writers of the show, to get together in a room and carry the series on. Where is everybody now? Kind of thing. And they plan it all out. And they start planning it out. They meant it to be like one episode, but they get so like into the groove kind of thing that they almost have like a season planned by the end of it. And they just kind of stop and say, okay, we've got to stop here. And it was really great to watch the process of how they came together to do that show. So it works on so many levels. The guy who played Garrick? No, not Garrick. Ducat, the guy who played Ducat, is a piece of work. He is something else. You can tell that it's so funny. In one part, he was like, because he keeps complaining about things, right? Like kept complaining, like he wasn't shown enough appreciation on the show. He wasn't shown enough love on the show. He wasn't shown enough. And the showrunner is like, I don't know what you're talking about. The way we showed you love is that you were on the show. You know, you kept your role kept getting bigger. You kept getting more and more scenes. You were a huge part of the show by the time it was done. Like, what are you complaining about? And he just like, I just wanted someone to come up to me and say, you did a good job today. It's something else. So yeah, I mean, you got to be a fan of the show. I don't think you'll but for anyone who's a fan of the show.
DS9 is a much overlooked show. I mean, I mean, people like picking out, first to do this, first to do that, controversy, things like that. DS9 dropped an N-bomb on primetime television in the early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody talks about it.
Yeah. Yep, that they did, and they do talk about that episode a lot. It was a lot of their favorite episode because of what the subject matter that it dealt with. It's something that they absolutely wanted to tackle, like that subject matter. There's a lot of fluff on Deep Space Nine. It's not my favorite Star Trek, but it when it was working really well, and yeah.
And they managed to cast a main actor who probably fits the same Shatner type. What does Avery Brooks not want to do with, coming into the documentary? He's a weird guy. Like, you see him in those panels and stuff. I remember seeing one panel he was on, and everyone's sitting there, and someone's asking him a question, and the microphone isn't in a stand, and he's not holding it. It's laying on the table, and he's just going like this, and he's leaning his head down at the microphone as if he can't be bothered to pick it up. He's a strange guy.
Yeah, I wish I could remember. There was a term that they all used to describe what it was like to work with him, but I can't remember it for the life of me right now. But it was very appropriate, whatever it was. So you'll have to watch the documentary.
I am very curious about that.
Yeah, it's good, and I believe it wasn't very long, so should fit in your criteria. Let's see, how long was that movie? I could call it up right here in a second. It was. Doesn't say.
The Captain's documentary. Bill's mentioning that. I haven't seen that one either.
I keep hearing that that I should watch that one too. Oh, he says it's not fun. Okay. What about
it was interesting ideas that he's going to interview the captains from all the shows.
Yeah.
And I think he even talked to Chris Pine. But I heard that that's the setup, but the documentary is kind of focuses all on Shatner.
Of course.
Somehow he gets all those people together, but the focus is on him.
Of course. I mean, that just makes sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Let me just make sure. I think that was everything I had. Oh, I did watch. Bill's going to get upset with me because I did watch Top Gun Maverick, and I gotta say,
with the airplanes.
Now I only watched it because it was nominated for Best Picture. I did not.
Was it really?
Yeah. The Academy's on crack this year, man. They are totally on. They're smoking something hard because that movie was a steaming pile, as far as I'm concerned.
I've heard nothing but good things.
I read nothing but good things on Letterboxd when I went to put my review in. I got some people liking my review though, some strangers, so I must be onto something. But my goodness, that movie was just awful. The dialogue was like it was written by an 8-year-old. Let's go get them. Okay, let's go. It was like a little kid playing with their GI Joes. Let's go, Joe. Yeah, let's go fight the. Oh my goodness. Every member berry from the original movie is there. Like, remember when Tom Cruise rode on the motorcycle and he raced the airplane? That was cool. Remember when Tom Cruise kissed the girl? Oh, yeah, that's in this movie too. It was so cool. Like,
do they play volleyball?
They play football in their jeans on the beach. Yeah, I get it. It's not supposed to be it's not supposed to be Shakespeare, but it's at least supposed to be good. And then the entire thing, the entire movie is a ripoff of Star Wars. Let me
Really?
let me set the scene for you, okay?
Wait, I might
But
watch this. Don't
They
spoil
have to
it.
go. They have to go into Iran, and they can't use a modern plane to go into Iran because a modern plane will get detected by everything. Everybody will detect the thing.
It's coming from Pastor Raptor Superfan.
Listen, that movie set out to do something and it did it. This movie failed on every point. Okay, so they got to go into Iran. So what do they do? Well, we can't use.
You know, you're
modern
spoiling the movie for me right
So
now.
we have to use. I'm not spoiling. I'm not telling you what happened at the end. So we have to use older planes. We have to use old planes because they won't be detected, and they have to fly under the radar. So what they do is they fly in a trench underneath the missiles. They fly in the trench to go and hit a tiny little spot, and they got to go and they got to dump their payload onto the spot and then fly out of there so they can blow it up. That's the trench run in Star Wars. It's the exact same thing.
Did Tom Cruise's astromech droid get taken out right at the last minute?
Some of the characters in it were acting like an astromech droid, let me tell you. They were they emoted about as much as R2D2 did.
Hey,
So
Duke's here.
Bill was hoping for Speedos in Top Gun. And now the show is broken and Sauce is angry with me. Oh no, I didn't like a movie you liked. Why does everyone care about what my opinion is? Why just who cares? It's just my
Do you want to talk about your favorite rom-coms? Duke just showed up.
Duke, I am impressed that you're watching When Harry Met Sally. I don't know what you thought of it. I guess I'll have to wait until.
Well, I know that it took him 2 days to watch it.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a time constraint thing or he got worn out. I don't know, but
I'm putting my money on he couldn't take anymore in one sitting.
Well, I gotta say, like, I didn't want to say anything because I don't want to start anything with Chris Roberts because I don't know. I just don't want. But When Harry Met Sally, great movie.
I watched it just a couple months ago.
The other movies they picked, I can't sit through them. I don't know what
were the other ones? It was the You Got Mail and all that.
Yeah, You Got Mail. Like I love Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan, but I just
I haven't seen any of those. I watched Groundhog Day.
That's a good romantic comedy.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So there you go. Oh, here we go. The actual plane
Fish Called Wanda.
Really cool. No, it wasn't. It wasn't that cool. No denying that it was impressive. Yeah, I can deny it. It wasn't that impressive. A lot of CG. GoPros on planes. Whoop-de-doo. Yeah, I was impressed. Oh, Sleepless in Seattle and Pretty Women.
I haven't seen either one of those.
I couldn't sit through either of those films. I did start watching because Sarah loves those movies. She has them on all the time. So I start watching them and then I start complaining and then she kicks me out of the room because she doesn't want to hear it. So good luck. Good luck with those, Duke. I hope you enjoyed When Harry Met Sally, though. I think that's a charming movie.
That's a good movie.
Let's see. So I gave, just so you know, is that even in here? It's got to be in here. Yeah, I gave Velocipaster a half a star.
Mm-hmm.
And I gave Top Gun Maverick a half a star. So take that, Sauce. They're tied. They are tied.
Do you rank them based on the quality of the production and the artistry of the film, or entertainment value?
I don't care what the production is of a film. Who cares? If it's a turd, it's a turd. The movie could look like Clerks, but Clerks charms the pants off me. It's a $2,500 movie or $25,000 movie or whatever it is, and it looks like it, but who cares? Top Gun, I don't know. They spent millions upon millions of dollars that bored the heck out of me. The geography from the technical, like, who cares what the geography is from a technical standpoint? Who cares? If I'm sitting there and I'm like, is the geography right in this movie? Who gives a crap? All right. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed the episode. Hope that you're happy that the soundboard is back. Oh God, the soundboard is working as well as it ever has. Let me tell you. Let me try that again. Yeah, there we go.
Hey,
There it
guys.
is. See? Okay. All right, that's enough. Anything else you want to talk about?
You said you played a game I might like.
Oh, right. Okay. Vampire Survivors. 2D, little 2D game. I think it's on Steam.
Vampire Survivor.
Yeah, it's just a little 2D game, and you play it. There's a whole bunch of characters. It kind of takes a lot from Diablo, but that's it in terms of like it's more like how it's set up with different characters, and you're playing through like these dungeons that just kind of are randomly generated, and it plays like a twin stick shooter, but you don't control the weapons. The weapons just kind of randomly shoot around you. You can also get area of attack things where like it surrounds you and protects you, and the bad guys just come towards you.
Yeah, I remember looking at this once before.
It's addictive. I was addicted to it. I'm playing it and I'm like, I want to play like with all the characters. I want to get all the characters to go through all the levels. There's only about 5 levels, but all the characters play a little bit differently. And I just, sometimes you just need a nice, simple game.
Yeah, time killer kind of game.
Yeah, and it is. It does kill a lot of time
Yeah.
that I should be doing other things, but
I've still been playing just pretty much the one game. I'm still playing Excite Trucks on Wii.
Oh yeah.
Well, I've been playing with my daughter, and like we kind of just pass the controller back and forth and see how we can do. And we did the regular mode, we did the hard mode, we unlocked mirror mode, and now it sounds like such a cheap trick to extend the life of a game where you have all the same tracks, but they are mirrored.
Yes.
All your rights are now lefts.
Yeah.
Totally effective for a racing game because
Yep.
there are some tracks in there that I had such trouble with trying to get the S ranking, and that I played the level over and over and over and over again to the point that I had like everything memorized and all the muscle memory of like, go here, go here. And when everything reverses on you, it's so difficult because you instinctively want to go the other way.
Yeah. There's a few racing games that do that, but yeah, that one, I remember that one was effective at that.
Very good.
And weren't you playing an adventure game too?
I am playing a point and click called Fillmore, Three Skulls of the Toltecs. It's a Western point and click. I thought it looked cool because, Old West, point and click, wacky humor, kind of fun. But it's mediocre in many ways. Bad voice acting. I wish people would learn their lessons with these point and click games. It's all trial and error. So when you click like I want to use this item in this situation, your character says, "Oh, I can't do that." Something like that. When they have an extremely annoying way of saying it and you have to hear it over and over and over and over throughout the whole game, I wish they would just put like a little red X or something, quick flash, just like, nope, can't do that. Instead of, I can't do that. I can't do that. Like over and over and over.
Yeah, I'm playing Broken Age right now. It's a similar point and click style game, but it lets you when you get stuck in a loop like that, it lets you just skip the dialogue to get out of it, which is an X would be better, but yeah. And of course, I get stuck in those games all the time because I forget that you can select the character. I'm like, what do I do here? And you're looking around the room and you're trying to combine your items and all that.
Yeah.
And you forget, like, put the item onto the character. I always forget that. Yeah.
Some of the puzzles can be really obtuse. There's one moment in the game I'm playing where it's not even a puzzle. It's just like bad design. There's one dialogue tree. You're in a saloon and you talk to the bartender and you ask like, where's the toilet? And then there's like a little room in the back, but when you go over it, nothing highlights, there's no indication you can interact with it. So I tried walking over there, nothing happens. And eventually that kept coming up in the dialogue tree. Go over there. Go over there. It's like, all right, I go over there. There's a stairwell that's kind of blocked and hidden that you can actually go up, and there's a second level. But there's no indication that you can actually do that, and you can't see it because the screen then scrolls up. It's just some poor design.
Wow. Well, I've never heard of it. It's been around forever. So, and apparently Duke is getting upset at us talking about computer games. Surprised Joe's probably gone already. So, yes, Curtis, Triangle of Success, or sorry, Triangle of Sadness. It's on my list. I've gotten off the Oscar movies there for the last few days, but I'll get back to it. But it's on
I'll put up some Duke movies. Highlander.
Mhm.
You like that one, Duke? I don't know if there's anything else in here Duke would like.
I got nothing for Duke.
Oh, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
I wonder if he'd like that. He probably likes that movie.
Hard Target with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
I almost watched Death Warrant with Jean-Claude Van Damme the other day, but another movie called to me.
What's the one where he's in at the Stanley Cup? There's one where he's in a stadium. It's like Die Hard.
It's got like a
Stanley
hockey kind of name, doesn't it? Like
Sudden Death.
Sudden Death.
Sudden Death.
That happens at the end of hockey. You're in sudden death. So there you go. Okay, that's it. Thank you, everyone in the chat. Mostly in the chat, anyways. I thank you, Curtis. It's Rocket Sauce. Sarah came here to stay 10 minutes. We had
Sarah, Bill, and Joe.
Yeah.
Gary.
I see Gary. I see Joe. I see. That's it. That's enough. That's all we need. Man, too bad Steven wasn't
goodness.
there.
I'm still scrolling up in these comments.
There's a lot of comments. None of them directed at us.
Curtis should get COVID more often.
All right, we better sign off because I got to talk to you. So,
Okay.
All right, that's it. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.